Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. As we are getting closer to the end of the year, in today's video I wanted to talk about what, in my opinion, are going to be the trends in crypto in 2022, what we can expect to happen, and which projects I think are worth investing in or which areas are worth looking into. First of all, I think there are two main things that will be different in 2022, and that's the importance of utility. And then stemming from it, decoupling of various cryptos or various areas in the cryptocurrency space from Bitcoin or from the overall market trend. And of course, because the space is still very, very new, there will be still a lot of speculation. So we cannot expect projects to purely rely on utility or build value purely on utility. But I think utility will gradually become more and more important. We've sort of seen this already with NFTs. While earlier this year, a lot of projects were just simply collections of 10,000s of images with no utility attached to them. As the year progressed, only projects which had something else going on were the successful ones. So things like access to alpha communities, generation of tokens, generation of other NFTs like, I don't know, baby version or mini version of the Genesis collection, and so on. Now the trend is moving more towards games and gamification, and I think we'll be seeing more of that in the crypto space overall. Essentially, as the space is maturing, the utility will become more and more important. People will be investing mainly in projects that either they use themselves or they can see a use case for others. And especially as crypto gaming becomes bigger and metaverse will gradually become a thing as well, I think that will become even more visible because of course that's where a lot of the utility will come from. For example, in 2020 and 2021, we've seen a lot of focus on the DeFi space. But let's be honest, it's not something an average person is probably interested in. Or let me put it a different way. There's much bigger likelihood that more people will be interested in gaming than in DeFi. And as that utility grows, more areas will start decoupling from Bitcoin because it will be less of a speculative market and it will be based more on the actual utility. So we've seen this already with various gaming and metaverse related projects. Even when the crypto market dipped overall, a lot of gaming cryptos held pretty well, and in some cases actually they were going up against the majority of the market. We've seen similar thing with NFTs. During the summer when the crypto market overall was going down or going sideways, NFTs started booming. And I think we'll see more and more of this happening next year. Certain areas, and I expect them largely to be various types of NFTs and gaming and metaverse related projects, will start decoupling from the crypto trend overall, and they will head in their own direction. So what specifically I'm looking into are, to be honest, largely projects developing from this year, or areas developing from this year. So things like metaverse and crypto gaming. I mean, that's not only the trend that started happening this year or the trend that I'm expecting for next year, but that's something that I expect to keep growing quite rapidly over the next 5-10 years. And considering that next year should be an absolutely amazing year for crypto, considering that Bitcoin is likely to go to 150 or 200k, and a lot of other cryptos, of course, will start going up as well. We will likely see much more mass adoption. I think it will be a really good year for metaverse and crypto gaming. Of course, we are still far away from the actual usable metaverse, the kind of thing like you've seen Ready Player One movie or similar type of stuff, but we will certainly see steps in that direction. The second trend I expect is NFTs becoming much more mainstream. I put mainstream in quotation marks because I don't really expect them to to hit mainstream in the true meaning of this word. That will probably take for the cryptos overall another 5 or 10 years. But I expect them to become much more common, much better understood, and spread them into much bigger variety of projects. But I'll talk about it a bit more in a minute. Then the next one is, actually there are 2 points which are closely related together. That's Ethereum 2.0 and ZK rollups. Ethereum 2.0 is going to be a huge change for Ethereum and will likely massively increase the price of Ethereum. But this is at the moment scheduled for June 2022. And it's something that's been already pushed back quite a few times. So even June 2022 is by no means guaranteed. So until Ethereum 2.0 actually becomes a thing, ZK rollups certainly have huge amount of potential. And I've made a separate video about ZK rollups. I'll put a link at the end of this video. If you're not familiar with them, it's worth checking out. I think that's going to be one of big trends next year. And then finally, and for some people this may be somewhat surprising, I think huge thing next year is going to be Cardano ecosystem. And that's largely because Cardano has been going sideways pretty much since early September. So we had now close to 4 months of either sideways movement or downtrend, even when the rest of the market was actually going up, even when Bitcoin was reaching new all-time highs. Cardano, since the deployment of the smart contracts on the mainnet, has been actually just going down. And that was expected. That's essentially what we thought would happen after the release of smart contracts. But as Cardano becomes a fully usable system, as there are more and more protocols working within Cardano ecosystem, I think we will soon see it booming. Well, I say soon, I think it will take a good few months and possibly might be well into 2022 before we will actually see the results of that. But when it happens, I wouldn't underestimate what will be possible in this space. So let's have a look at some specific projects and reasons why I think these areas are essentially going to boom in 2022. So these are tokens I currently hold, or majority of the tokens I currently hold. And I think pretty much everything on this list which is in the gaming or NFT space is an obvious good choice. Things like Remark, Superfarm, CDFI, although CDFI is holding pretty strong, Star Atlas, Veracity, Altura, Polka City. I mean, these are of course only some tokens, but I think they're all sound investments. They are, from current prices, I expect all of them to go easily 5 to 10x within the next year. There are of course many others like UFO Gaming, CryoWar, Blacktopia, and NFT projects in that space. Something like Sin City, which if you look on Binance NFT market, it's currently around $560, but it's been bouncing between just under $500 and around $600 for a while. And considering that a lot of NFTs will cost you probably equivalent of roughly $400 or so to mint, this isn't actually far off typical mint price. So I think it's definitely a project worth investing into. It's a good buying opportunity. So I think these are good examples of what you can invest in the gaming or metaverse space. If you then are interested in NFTs, why I think NFTs are going to boom. So, well, we had so many really bullish news recently. Things like the announcement of Nike's acquisition of Artifact, which is essentially a digital design studio producing trainers for the metaverse, or Melania Trump dropping her own NFT. I mean, it doesn't matter what you think about Melania Trump. It just shows how popular NFTs are becoming. Another good example is Adidas, and they entered metaverse and NFT space. And then also we had news about Shopify allowing merchants to mint and sell NFTs on its platform. And that's in beta testing stage, but it's still happening. So essentially what we are seeing here is NFTs pretty much being in the headlines every day in the last few days and weeks. The space is developing really quickly. Some really big companies, mainstream companies, are entering this space. And of course, this just brings more awareness and confidence, because it's no longer this random, oh, I can just right click and save it and I have it thing. When you see companies like this investing a lot of money and making a lot of money from NFTs, well, this makes others think, well, it is actually probably a viable product. It's something with a future. So we can expect that there will be much more money pouring into NFTs in the coming year, and of course beyond that. And one thing that makes me particularly bullish about NFTs is how niche this space still is. The amount of crypto users overall worldwide is estimated, I think, somewhere around 300 million. So something around 3 or 4% of the population of the world. But then the amount of NFT users, people who actively actually trade NFTs on OpenSea, it's something like 300,000. I mean, that's literally nothing. It's a fraction of a percent of the crypto users, let alone the population of the world. So the potential here is absolutely immense. If you think about it, 300,000 is the size of, I don't know, a pretty small city out of the whole population of the world, which is around 8 billion or so, well, close to 8 billion. So once the space starts growing, the growth here will be absolutely beyond what most people can imagine. So I think it's a particularly good moment to invest in blue chip NFT projects. I would be very careful with investing in NFTs in general, because there are a lot of, frankly, pretty rubbish projects at the moment. A lot of projects which may even have potential may not necessarily last long enough to realize that full potential. They may not last until the bull market. But projects which are really well established and well known, I think will do exceptionally well once the market picks up. And of course, you have all the CryptoPunks or Bored Ape Yacht Club, which cost tens of ethers, so essentially hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions even. But there are many other projects you can potentially get into. A lot of them are already quite expensive. I mean, they are blue chip for a reason. But I think my favorite at the moment is the Doge Pound, because it's certainly a blue chip project. There's no question about that. It's one of the most recognized brands in the NFT space. And it's not cheap. It's around 1.7 ETH. Yesterday I saw it at around 1.5. So I wouldn't be surprised if the price dips a little bit more. But although it is expensive, for a blue chip NFT, it is actually a pretty decent price. If you consider that a lot of other blue chip NFTs, you have to pay, I don't know, at least between 5 and 10 ETH to get one. Not to mention like the absolutely top-end projects which are in tens or hundreds of ETH. Well, something like 1.5 to 2 ETH is actually not too bad. And it's the kind of project you can expect that it will easily double or triple in price. And absolutely worst case scenario, well, it will still hold its value long term. So I would certainly seriously consider getting it, because as NFTs will enter more mainstream phase, all those projects will gain value very, very rapidly. The next thing I mentioned was ETH 2.0 and ZK rollups. And ETH 2.0, well, there are multiple articles. We are expecting the merge in June 2022. So that's when ETH will move from proof of work to proof of stake. But like I said, this date been moved at least a couple of times already. And even best case scenario, well, we are still good half a year away from that date. So don't get me wrong, I'm extremely bullish on ETH. I think ETH will perform very, very well next year. And it's certainly one of the blue chip cryptos and it's worth holding. But I think in the meantime, there is huge amount of potential for other projects, which can essentially make transactions on a Ethereum blockchain cheaper and faster, because that's the main issue with Ethereum. When the network gets busy, when the network gets congested, it just becomes really expensive. So of course, that's not great for mass adoption. And at the moment, the solution that's really talked about a lot are ZK rollups. As I mentioned earlier, I have a separate video about that. I'll put a link at the end. But the projects worth looking into are ZK Sync and Starkware, and they are both expected to release tokens soon. So in my other video, I talk about how you can potentially participate in an airdrop of those tokens. But yeah, it's definitely a space that's worth looking into, ZK rollups. And then finally, it's the Cardano ecosystem. And I know recently Cardano's been seen as, well, essentially underperforming quite a bit. But I think that it has, well, I think a lot of people agree that it has immense potential and eventually it will go up. Basically, at the moment, the system needs to develop, but this doesn't change the fact that once it hits that phase, once it gets that mass adoption, the prices will skyrocket. And it doesn't matter whether you look at Cardano itself, which is trading now around $1.20, or projects within Cardano ecosystem. We'll look at a couple of those in a minute. I think they're all really good buying opportunities right now. I mean, Cardano is currently down around 60% from its all-time high, but we can expect it to easily hit $8 to $10 in this market cycle. And also, one of the benefits of Cardano is that you can very easily stake it. So while you are waiting for the price to go up, you can earn around 5% interest on your Cardano. And of course, as the price will go up in the future, that may actually add up to a pretty decent amount. So I still hold a lot of Cardano. It's, well, now that the price dipped, it's bouncing between still being my second and my third biggest holding, but I still remain very, very bullish. I think it may take a while for it to go up, but I have I have no doubt that eventually it will. And then within Cardano ecosystem, there are many great projects you can look into. Something like Koti is definitely one of the more popular ones, or the ones I'm really bullish on. Or CardStarter, which is currently massively down. It's down over 90%. And there are of course many others, Chainlink, Gero Wallet, and so on. I think it's still definitely worth investing in these projects because eventually their prices will start pumping. When Cardano's time will come, we can probably see CardStarter going back again 10x, 20x. It's down over 90%. Its previous all-time high was over $80. So even if it goes back to that figure, that would be like 15x or so from the current price. So there is a lot of potential, but the trick is to get into those projects early and buy them when no one else is buying. Because of course, once everyone starts talking about Cardano, these prices will be probably already quite a bit higher and they will start skyrocketing quite quickly. That's why I think it's worth investing in a lot of those products now. So I think that's it from me for today. Just to sum up, in 2022, I expect continued rise of crypto gaming, metaverse, Ethereum 2.0 and ZK rollups, NFTs, especially more mainstream NFTs and NFTs spreading to other areas. That also includes things like photographers and NFT space or musicians and so on, not just the type of art we've seen in this year. And then finally also the rise of the Cardano ecosystem. I think it all will happen in stages. I don't expect all of it to boom at the same time, but if anything, that's even better because that means that there should be opportunities to move some of the profits from one area to another. So that's what I'm looking at in 2022. That's what I'm hoping to happen in 2022. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.